You ever see stuff you can't explain?
This came from somewhere else.
Oh, freedom, we're all going against the wind.
Life elsewhere in the universe is virtually a certainty.
CIA monkey business.
That was awful strange.
Hello. Hi.
Hi. Hello.
My name is Laura. That's
Talia.
And yeah, this is Take Me to Your Dealer.
Yes, welcome to Take Me to Your Dealer, everyone.
What the fuck are we talking about today, Tal?
It's a messy little episode for you today. You got to really dig in with us on this one.
You got to just listen with an open heart and an open mind.
Yeah,
we're talking about fucking presidents, man. Presidents and their encounters with UFOs and aliens. It happened like pretty much to every president. They all have some kind of story.
Yeah.
We get into those stories.
And I feel like, talking to people about UFOs, there was like, oh, do you think the government really knows what's going on, or presidents know what's going on? And I think that you got to understand that at first the presidents knew what was going on. And as we go down the line of U.S. presidents, they knew less and less on purpose for a reason we'll get into later.
Yeah.
And now they know fucking nothing.
Oh my God. Such a long history.
Let's start with FDR.
Okay.
FDR had some stuff to say. He sent out a few really some sketchy memos about alien life forms that are more recently public knowledge.
Yeah. Okay, so FDR...
What time period are we talking
here? He was
here?
wilding out, dude. This was like 1942. Do you know about the Battle of Los Angeles? Like the Los Angeles air raid of 1942?
LA versus aliens, correct?
Well, so Pearl Harbor had just happened, right?
Mm-hmm.
So obviously everybody was like on edge. There was palpable tension in the air, literally in the air. And something happened one night in 1942. Basically, we thought we saw Japanese enemy planes flying over LA, like beginning to attack us. So we just like go all out, blow shit up. We're like, like civilians died because of it. It was like for a few hours, just like nonstop, like air battle. And everybody was freaking out. Everyone was like, oh my God, I can't believe they attacked Los Angeles like this. And then it turns out after the fact, Japan basically confirmed that like they didn't have anything to do with that. They were like, no.
We have no idea what that was.
We don't know what you're talking about. Like we absolutely did not send any planes over LA.
It was aliens.
Like we're not going to do that. So then the official like White House statement is that, oh yeah, they were just weather balloons and we just got scared and, just overreacted, basically. Sorry about that. Whoops.
It's really
whoopsies.
crazy to me that for so many years we had problems with weather balloons and no one ever decided to even like fix it. Like they were the biggest problem.
Such an issue. Yeah, exactly. So basically that happened and that sparked, because basically what really happened was aliens.
Yeah,
we were fighting aliens. Like
right,
aliens came and they were like checking us out. We reacted to the aliens. And this caused Roosevelt to write a memo to a general, George Marshall, I guess was his name. And basically in this memo, it was recently declassified and obtained through the Freedom of Information Act, that it mentions basically that we have atomic secrets that we learned from studying celestial devices.
Celestial devices,
yes. And that there is great significance towards the development of a super weapon of war.
The atomic bomb.
Like literally just the atomic bomb.
So literally he's saying on paper, documented, like we have this in our possession, that we studied celestial bodies and used that information to develop weapons to defeat, in quotes, Germany and Japan.
Yep. Exactly. So in 1944, too, like 2 years later, there's another memo that was recently declassified where he is quoted saying, non-terrestrial know-how in atomic energy must be used in perfecting superweapons of war to effect the complete defeat of Germany and Japan. And he acknowledges that basically the reality that, our planet is not the only one harboring intelligent life in the universe and that we need to take every advantage of such wonders that have come to us.
Yeah. So it's literally like the first time a U.S. president is just saying, yeah, this is exactly what we're dealing with. It's aliens.
Right.
We're using it to our advantage. We're going to keep this a super secret because we're going to use it to kill everyone else, basically.
I think people were interested in, like, for whatever reason, like, sharing the information, and Roosevelt was just like, nah. And he basically employed,
well,
like...
for military reasons, of course.
Yeah, well, he employed, like, the same level of security to keep it all under wraps. Like, it was, like, as classified as the atomic bomb, basically. Like, it was the same, just high security.
So FDR dies, and Truman, who by all accounts did not want to be president, it seems, was kind of forced into this presidency. Like, he just knew it was going to happen eventually, and immediately gets told about the atomic weapons and all of this. And yeah, so during this time period, the U.S. is testing nuclear bombs. They dropped 2 nuclear weapons.
Yeah, just having some fun,
Just
dudes rocking out.
Dudes rocking for sure. And in 1947, so 2 years later, we have the Roswell Crash. Just like
dun dun dun, the main event.
Main event, and everyone in the U.S. starts freaking the fuck out because it's terrifying. There's like all this conflicting reports. Like, it was a downed saucer. It was like some crazy metallic objects people were collecting from the crash site. Like weird putty that you could like mold with your hands. Like metallic weird. Yeah, it was weird reports.
Sounds foul.
It was pretty foul. So people are looking to the president, basically, like, what the hell's going on out here? So he has the Air Force go and investigate, and they say that it's a downed weather balloon again.
Wait. Was this the Majestic 12?
No.
Okay.
Was it? Is this the first case of the Majestic 12? No, it might be.
Wait.
I mean, Truman developed the Majestic 12 in order to find recovered craft. So I guess this could have been the first instance.
Yeah. Well, he executive ordered the creation of the Majestic 12. I thought in response to the Roswell crash.
That was like their main objective was to
get
downed craft. So that would make total sense.
Yeah. The Majestic 12 is wild.
Yeah. So potentially Majestic 12 go out there. Either way, they say, this is just another downed weather balloon, those pesky weather balloons. The U.S. people are like, no, that's definitely not the case. So they release another statement saying it was a nuclear surveillance balloon. But
many of those.
It marks the first time that now the presidents are making an active decision to keep this nuclear information from the public and whatever information they're getting about technology from the public. And this isn't the first time that Truman is forced to deal with this issue, because in 1952, an incident occurs known as the Washington Flap.
Oh, what's that?
There is a bunch of UFO reports over Washington, D.C., like UFOs flying over the White House, flying over the Capitol. We have air traffic control in the nearby Washington National Airport. They see 7 different objects on their radar. Movements that they are saying is completely radical compared to ordinary aircraft.
Just weather balloons, dude. That's all it is.
They're weird weather balloons mostly. Yeah. They even checked their radar because they were like, our radar has to be fucking up. This can't be real. And of course, it was fine. This happened over the course of multiple weeks. And this specific weekend of the 19th was the worst weekend, where there was the most objects. Pilots reported seeing orange balls of fire. Pilots at the National Airport runway said they saw 6 different white tailless objects, which were also confirmed on radar reports from the control tower.
Totally normal.
Completely normal. Well, it's actually so normal that Truman issued fighter jets a shoot down order.
Oh.
Just to shoot down the weather balloons. And it made the front pages newspapers, so people are like, hey, what's going on out there, Truman?
Right.
He's quoted as saying that he talked to the military and they were like, we don't know. And it was totally fine for him.
IDK, LOL.
He was not concerned. He created something called the Robertson Panel on UFOs, and basically tasked them with saying, what's going on? Let's tell the American people what's going on. Robertson Panel gets together, takes a look at everything going on, decides that whatever it is that's flying around Washington, D.C. right now is not a national security issue somehow. So therefore, it's not anything that should involve the public. Because worst case scenario, the public is going to be reporting all of this stuff to them, saying they keep seeing UFOs and it's getting all bogged down and all the important information they need. So they recommend a public education campaign to reduce interest in the subject matter. And
what, disinformation or like
I'm
what?
not gonna say a hard D yet, but yeah. They also recommend that civilian groups be monitored who
Hard
are
D.
discussing these issues, because it's obviously all bullshit and it's just going to bog down all the information. So pay attention to them, which is probably why people are tapping into us right now, for the record. Like,
Oh, yeah.
that's why this is happening. That's why people have been shut down and silenced, is because of this Robertson panel. Yeah, and basically this is kind of what draws the Truman presidency to a close. Like, after this, he kind of finishes up his presidency. This is kind of the note he leaves it all on, and it gets handed right over to Eisenhower.
Oh, our boy.
Our boy.
The boy.
Yeah, and Eisenhower
The man of the
definitely
hour.
has met some aliens.
Dude, Eisenhower's wild. Like, so first of all, he was the first guy, really, to kind of confirm unidentifiable objects. Like, when he was general, so he was like the commander of Allied forces in Europe.
Like 10 years before
like
his presidency.
during World War II. Yeah. He's the one, I think, who dubbed them Foo Fighters, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then,
I mean, they, like, at that time period,
like,
yeah.
So he basically was like, yes, these are real. We don't know what the hell they are. They're causing engine malfunctions in our Allied planes. What's going on? You know? So he's the first guy to kind of say all that. Then, when he becomes president, things get a little bit weirder for old Ike.
Yeah, because this stuff has now been going on through the presidency of, like, I mean, 2 different presidencies.
Yeah.
And now he's coming on the stage and is kind of just like, so what's going on?
Yeah,
out
he's
here?
like, I already know about these guys. Like, I'm a friend of them. I'm a friend of the aliens. Like, I've already met them. They're cool with me. I don't know if that's really what he said, but
Probably because he's such a friend that he takes time off of his vacation. In Palm
oh
Springs
yeah,
to meet
let's
with
go
them.
into that. So he's on vacation in good old Palm Springs,
1954.
California in 1954. Yes. He interrupts said vacation to
in the middle of the night.
literally in the middle of the night. Like, he's like, oh, gotta go. My tooth hurts, honey.
And it must make a secret, undocumented trip to the dentist.
Yeah, I gotta go
Which is
see my.
unheard
I just
of.
gotta go see my dentist. Like, it's so painful. It's like, but Ike, you literally didn't say anything about your tooth at all. Like, this whole trip. Like, what are you talking about? It's like, I just gotta go. I gotta go. So he goes, and you know, he didn't really go to the dentist.
I mean, he was missing for 12 hours. And in this 12-hour period, the
the Associated Press. Yes.
releases a report saying that he died.
Yeah. They're like, oh, Ike. I like Ike.
But he's
dead. And then it's like literally 2 minutes later, they're like, oh, wait, just kidding.
Just kidding.
What
So
the
what
hell?
was going on? What was he doing?
What was going on?
He
Why
was-
would they say that?
He met some Nordic gentle people.
He met some aliens referred to as the Nordics in UFO circles because basically they had white hair, blue eyes, like Hitler's like wet dream child.
Yeah, and the Nordics will keep coming up because
Yes.
they're one of the main alien races. Please keep listening.
Yes. No, they're like a fan favorite. But basically the Nordics were saying like to Ike, they were basically saying like, you know, give up your nukes. Don't do this.
Yeah, like
'Cause
you
this
guys are
is-
like really messing things up for
This is
everybody.
going to fuck up like the time-space continuum. It's going to affect us on our planet.
Like, you think we don't notice?
Like, we notice and we care.
You don't even know what you're doing.
You're literally cockroaches on this perfect planet. Like, stop it. And
They offer to trade tech with him in
Right,
return and like
right.
secrets. They're like, we'll tell you wisdom we know. We'll give you some tech information if you just stop threatening the entire universe.
yeah, but Ike was like, nah.
He said no.
He's like, nah, dudes rock too hard, man.
He said dudes rock, yeah.
I got to do it. And then he also met the Greys, right?
Yeah, so that was the first meeting. So Ike actually had 2 separate meetings with aliens. So he goes back home. I guess he fixes his tooth. Although, for the record, the dentist totally backs up his story and is like, yeah, I met him. He like chipped his tooth on a
there's-
chicken bone. But the dentist's wife, the day after they interviewed her, and she has zero recollection of the
No.
event.
There's no record.
There's
also.
no
There's
record.
no like dental
Nothing.
record
No.
trip of him going
There's
there.
no record of like, I mean, you need like flight data for all
Yeah.
of that, like money, nothing.
Right.
And also that Air Force base was shut down for 3 whole days, the exact same time period this was happening. Like no.
It was the Edwards Air Force Base, right? Yeah.
They said no craft was allowed to come in and out. They said only essential personnel was allowed to be there. I mean, why?
I just want to know also, like, I can't get over the fact that the AP reported that he died.
Yeah, they
Like-
said it was a mistake.
No, they were like, oh, he died of a heart attack specifically like a heart attack. And then they just retracted it immediately.
Never
like
mind. Something sketchy is
they
going on
said
there.
like later on, like, oh yeah, we were just like fooling around, like just joking around about the president's
yeah, and
death.
someone accidentally hit send.
Whoops. Yeah, exactly. Just
Wrong
reply
text.
all. No.
Come on.
It's like, no, something was weird there. Like they were planning, like they knew he was going to go meet with the aliens. They didn't think he was going to come back alive. And they were just like, okay, well, we got to get everybody ready for this. Like, and it was just
Something was going on.
very premature.
So later on in 1954, that same year, he has a second meeting in New Mexico, but this is with the Greys. And
Right.
the Greys are your stereotypical alien when you think about aliens. They're tall, slender, like big heads, big eyes.
They're just like us.
Most of the time, actually 50% of the time, if you hear of an abduction story in the United States, it's involving the Greys. Like they're the ones that take people.
And
And
why
there's
is
a
this?
reason for it.
Why is this, Tal?
Because Eisenhower was not able to reach an agreement with the Nordics. Their terms were too steep. The
Right.
Greys, on the other hand, said, you guys can keep doing whatever you want with the nukes. We're not going to interfere with your affairs whatsoever. In return, you won't interfere with our affairs when we start stealing your people and your cattle. They said they want to be able to take people and cattle from medical experiments.
They want our anuses.
And this was, by the way, this is the Treaty of Greada. This is documented.
Okay, I was going to ask you about that because I was like, I kept seeing the Greada Treaty and I was like, is this what that fucking was?
Yeah.
Our people? Like,
Yes.
our people.
Well, Eisenhower basically was like, yeah, you guys can do whatever you want to these people as long as you return them safely. And we also need the names
How
of these.
safely are they returned? They're like traumatized.
Well, they're alive. And we need the names documented.
Right.
And then, yeah, you can like do whatever you want,
Yeah.
basically. And cattle.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
you
Cattle definitely weren't
You can
returned
touch
alive.
cows. They
were
love cattle. The Greys love cows.
like, God.
They're
they
obsessed. And they're kind of cute. It makes
got
sense.
in and out of those cattle.
Yeah, and this happened. Like this.
It 100% happened. This is 100%
For sure.
real. This is 100% fact. We would never lie
And
on
then we
this
have-
show. We would never lie.
We would never lie to you. And we have we'll talk about abduction cases, you know, in later episodes
Yeah, like
that all
specific
involve the
ones.
Greys, and
Right.
they're all stemming from this specific treaty that we signed.
Yeah,
I'm
so
seriously-
basically the Greys just got like a free pass.
yeah,
Because thanks a lot, Eisenhower.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Ike.
yeah.
Like millions of people have been
Millions.
abducted. Like millions at this point.
And it's totally
just
chill.
like, great. Thanks, Ike.
yeah, we
I like
allowed it.
Ike.
We allowed it to happen.
I like Ike.
Now, I feel like we have to talk about this because it's kind of entered UFO canon lore. Like
Go
something that
on.
happened. I am personally of the opinion that it's complete bullshit, but I will bring it up.
I will challenge that bullshit.
All right. So apparently in 1957, Eisenhower had a third meeting with an alien.
Okay. I actually didn't
goes
even
by
know about
the
the third one. I knew about the
he-
first two.
Well, he goes by the name of Valiant Thor.
That's a band.
Yeah, it is a band now, actually. Yeah. He's a Venusian alien from the
Venus.
interior of Venus.
Mm.
That's why we can't see them, because they live inside of Venus, he says.
Ah.
So all this was documented in a book by someone named Frankie Strangis, who claims he's a federal marshal with top security clearance. He's had meetings with the president and Valiant Thor and knows all of this inside information. And to be fair to his story, this book that he wrote, there are eyewitness accounts to back it up.
Mm-hmm.
There are photos of this person, Valiant Thor, although he definitely just looks like some regular
Hold on.
Joe Schmo. What?
Valiant Thor is a person or what is he?
Yeah. So apparently he was a person.
Okay.
He landed in a spacecraft and was picked up by local police.
Okay.
And said that he would like to be brought to the president.
Take me to your
He said,
leader, would you say?
yeah, I guess he said that. Also, the report's really great because they say that they like drew their guns on him, and then he all of a sudden like was just like outside the police vehicle, like just standing there, like, no, I've been here the whole time. It makes no sense. Apparently, according to the book, he's extremely handsome. I think he's like slightly purple or something. Stranger says that he has the skin on his hands was like baby smooth.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah. He lands in the spacecraft
Dudes rock.
with a bunch of women Venusian aliens named
What
Jill.
the hell? This sounds like a Playboy article.
No, it's
like
definitely a romance. Like, this is a horny nerd. There's no way around it. This guy, like, I don't know why people believed this to begin with, but I mean, I've seen photos of this guy, and he is not particularly handsome. He's just a regular old dude.
I'll be the judge. I'll be the judge of that.
No accounting for taste, I guess. Yeah, but he says that he's a representative from the Intergalactic High Council. They're all worried about Earth's nuclear capabilities.
Right. Everyone was concerned about that.
According to this book, he meets with Eisenhower a few times, stays on as an advisor for like 3 years. Eisenhower keeps pushing to go public with this information, but apparently Nixon and other Joint Chiefs refuse to allow him to.
Oh, wow. Nixon was involved back then. What was he?
Vice president?
I didn't know
No,
that.
that doesn't make any sense.
Definitely not.
I don't have any idea.
I feel like Nixon just like spawned as like President Nixon. Like I feel like he wasn't a thing before.
Probably crawled right out of that spacecraft with
exactly.
Jill and Tanya.
Right.
And Dawn. Honestly. No, but like honestly, like if you're interested in this subject at all, please look this up because it is very entertaining. So yeah, that kind of like draws the Eisenhower administration to a conclusion as far as aliens are concerned. I mean, he signed away all of our rights as Americans and allowed us to get experimented on. And
hey, I don't blame him. I probably would have done the same thing. You know,
maybe.
Why not?
Depends on how sexy those aliens were.
I mean, purple hands.
Kennedy comes in office next.
Oh, my boy.
No, he had no idea. It wasn't fair. He wasn't prepared.
I feel bad for Kennedy, man.
I do. He's like this innocent, sweet little boy that just came in and was like ready to party. And
but I feel like he was like, he was a horn dog.
Yeah,
he was definitely a horn dog.
He was a known horn dog.
He wanted to,
but he was not horny for aliens.
I think he was.
No, he was scared of them. He was terrified.
But I think the fear is what made him horny. He wanted to see those alien titties.
I don't know if he did. I think he was afraid of them, honestly.
Well,
either way,
we'll get into alien titties later.
So Kennedy is kind of a changing like point in the U.S. presidents because before him there was like all this interaction with presidents and aliens, and then Kennedy comes in and kind of shakes things up so much that after him, it seems presidents as a whole aren't really as aware of aliens anymore. Like the CIA and people in charge just stop it in its tracks with Kennedy. Yeah.
Well, dude, like what happened was November 12th, 1963.
Well, hold on.
Go on.
Before 63.
What?
In 1961.
Okay.
Kennedy learns that Soviet radar has a difficult time identifying certain types of aerial phenomenon and could confuse them with U.S. missiles.
Okay.
And so he becomes increasingly concerned that some U.S., because he knows about UFOs, and he's concerned that these UFOs might be coming up into Soviet airspace and they're going to think it's the U.S., shoot missiles at us, and then cause World War III. So this is in 61 that he's super concerned. And he actually ends up...
And obviously he was like just interested in space travel in general, you know, because
this
of the
new thing.
Like, you know, he was very interested in space. Like,
yeah. He actually ends up reaching out to the Soviet Union and tries to have a dialogue about this because he's so concerned. He's like, you guys have to know that if you keep seeing UFOs, like it might not be us. Like there's just UFOs out there. Don't think it's the U.S.
Dude, okay. So then later on, right, 1963, apparently Kennedy ordered the CIA director to organize all files related to UFOs to debrief him. Like he wanted to know.
As a result of the November 11th, Cosmos 21. Where,
what's that?
Yeah, so apparently the Soviets released this unmanned spacecraft on November 11th.
Oh.
And it didn't leave Earth orbit. And no one knows why, but for whatever reason, it rattled Kennedy so much. Whatever he found out terrified him.
Oh, yeah.
So that's when he went to them on the 12th and was like,
yo, tell me everything.
Tell
what
me
the
everything.
hell is
And
going
also,
on?
whatever we know, whatever NASA knows, you need to tell the Soviets.
Yes.
He was like, we need to start sharing this shit with
this
each
is
other.
real shit. Yeah.
And he gave them by February
Mm-hmm,
to debrief him on all unknowns, quote unquote.
And then 10 days later, he was
They
assassinated.
killed him.
Literally 10 days later.
They said it was too steep.
Yeah. So basically, a memo that was released by an ex-CIA operative, I guess they were like literally burning sensitive files a while ago. And this he didn't want to be named, of course. He's like, I'm anonymous. But according to him, he saved this specific memo. And so it's called the Burned Memo. And it said that Lancer, which was JFK's code name in the CIA, has made some inquiries regarding our activities, which we cannot allow. Your action to this matter is critical to the continuance of the group. Whatever the fuck that means. So that was obviously it can't be easily proven,
Right.
Obviously there's people that are saying that's not true, of course, but I believe it 100%.
Yeah. No, I mean, I know there's a lot of information here and it's easy to just get bogged down in all the bullshit. But basically what we're saying is Kennedy was concerned about the aliens.
Yes.
And so they killed him.
They literally killed him because
The
he wanted...
CIA killed him.
Yeah. He wanted to release the information. He wanted transparency. And they were just like, nope.
And to share it with our enemy at the time, the Soviet Union. And they said, this is just too much.
Well, wasn't it he was also anti-CIA too?
Of course.
Right? He was just fuck the CIA.
Yeah,
This
you
shouldn't
have so
be
many
a thing.
problems.
It was just so many things. Kennedy was extremely based, extremely fucking dudes rock, extremely into alien titties.
No, he just liked regular titties.
No.
No.
He liked alien titties.
No, he was scared of alien titties.
No. He wanted, he was curious.
I don't think so.
He was alien
I
curious.
don't think he was alien curious at all.
All right. We're moving on to Nixon.
Yeah. So, I mean, in between Kennedy and Nixon, or during Kennedy into Nixon, there's
Right.
a lot of UFO reports within the United States as well. I mean,
Oh,
there's
yeah.
these
Explosion.
incidents are not slowing down. There's a massive incident
Thanks, Eisenhower.
we can discuss maybe in later episodes at the Maelstrom base in Montana,
Mm-hmm.
which is when they sighted a bunch of UFOs. And at the exact same time in the same area, all of our nuclear missiles went offline.
Oh, cool.
So it's concerning
Sick.
for the government. There's a lot of people have some questions.
Yeah.
And so then Nixon is brought in under these circumstances.
Nixon was also wild.
But he was also very afraid still of the whole concept of UFOs leading to war.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
signed a treaty.
Oh, did he?
Mm-hmm. So to kind of continue on the fears that Kennedy had, Nixon actually ended up signing a treaty with the Soviet President Brezhnev to minimize the outbreak of war. Basically, there was a clause in the treaty that said that if either side was concerned about something in their airspace, there was protocols in place, I guess, to say hey, that's not us.
Right. Okay.
That's a UFO. That's not us. Just to try to help prevent World War III.
Makes sense.
He
That's
was,
fair.
by all accounts, Nixon was pretty obsessed with aliens.
Yeah, dude. He had a time capsule. Okay. He
I
had a
don't know
time
about this.
capsule in the White House that apparently contained evidence of alien life. And this guy, Robert Merritt, he was a domestic intelligence operative for Nixon. He is on record saying that he was shown proof while having a one-on-one meeting with Nixon. And Nixon apparently had this letter that stated that the U.S. was protecting an ET being.
An alien.
An
An
alien.
actual alien.
Yes. And that scientists at Los Alamos, remember that place? They were able to communicate with it and obtain
Well,
advanced tech.
telepathically, of course.
Yeah. So that was all going on. And then he really, like, Nixon also came close to disclosing UFOs, like the existence of UFOs.
Well, he told his, did you hear about his, like, actor buddy?
Oh, yeah. But first, he was coming close because he actually, like, funded a documentary by this guy using, like, government footage, apparently. I don't think it was ever actually made, but there are documents stating that, like, there was money from the Nixon administration going to funding, like, this documentary by this guy, Robert Emmenegger? I don't know.
But it never happened.
It didn't actually happen, but there was just, like, interest there.
Interesting.
But yeah, okay, wait. What happened with Jackie Gleason?
Okay. Please keep listening. I'm not sure if this actually happened. It's kind of crazy. I guess
this is like National Enquirer.
So Jackie Gleason of the Honeymooners fame.
Is this the guy who's like, I'll give you a moon, like, I'll give you a black eye,
yeah, or like I'll send you to the moon, or
cool.
I don't know. Yeah.
Cool guy.
Something extremely old, not relevant anymore. He, like, I guess was, like, golfing with him one day, and, like, the topic of aliens.
They were tight. They were like best friends.
They were really close. And he was just like, yeah, you like aliens?
Right.
Wait a minute. I got some aliens for you. And I guess brought him into a secret underground bunker and, like, showed him the bodies.
Showed him the alien titties.
He do we know if that there was titties?
Yes.
I don't know if I didn't see anything about that.
It was 4 embalmed aliens that apparently had small bald heads and large ears. That's what Jackie Gleason's second wife said. So that's like what she's quoted saying, like, oh yeah, he came home, he was like white and like just like he had been through a war, and like that's what he said he saw.
So it could have just been like a really wild night.
He was obsessed with aliens though, man. Like he had like a house that he built, like he commissioned it to be built that was like shaped like a spacecraft, like a saucer.
The only reason I don't believe this story necessarily, the only reason, is because I think that it seems like after Kennedy, they really stopped letting the presidents know what was going on.
Right.
I don't really think Nixon had any idea. I think that he thought he was going to get into office and he was going to be like, finally, someone's going to show me the alien titties. And I don't think they were willing to at all.
Right.
Like, I think he probably bragged to Gleason a lot, and then maybe they just had like, I think he told him some shit. They had like a really crazy night. I don't know. He saw what he wanted to see.
Yeah. All right. Well, this leads us into Bush Sr. and Carter together because they're kind of like intertwined a bit.
But like from very opposing sides, because Carter was obsessed with UFOs because he saw a UFO while on the campaign trail to be Georgia governor.
Right. No. I thought he was governor. Semantics.
He was doing some shit and he was giving a speech.
Yeah.
In 1969. There's like 20 other witnesses to the same event that were in the crowd where he was giving a speech, and they all saw this UFO that scared the shit out of him.
Oh, yeah.
He said it was like a unique light, unlike anything he ever saw.
He said it was like focused on him. He was like, it's like looking at me.
Here's the new. He actually filled out a report with the International UFO Bureau, which makes him the only U.S. president to have an official UFO sighting.
That's crazy.
And he said afterwards that he's like, listen, guys, if I ever become president, I'm going to tell you everything I know, because this rattled him. He was like, yo, we have to figure out what I saw.
It's all about disclosure.
Yeah. And of course, he gets in and he tries at every turn to get this shit together. He's like, you got to tell me what's going on with the aliens. I saw an alien. You must tell me. But who is the director of the CIA at the time?
Fucking Bush Sr. George H.W.
Bush.
George
and
H.W.
he says no.
He's like, nah, dude.
No, you're not allowed. He actually says in quotes that it's on a need-to-know basis.
Oh, yeah.
So Carter reaches out to the FBI. The FBI claims they don't have any information.
Yeah.
He reaches out to NASA.
I know. So
NASA is told by the CIA to not cooperate with him.
They're just like fucking just cock blocking him at every turn.
You don't
Carter's
need to know,
like,
sir.
I want to know.
Yeah, they're just swatting him away.
Yeah.
And we have that documented, that the CIA straight up said to NASA, like, don't tell him a fucking thing.
Right.
Don't tell him anything. He doesn't need to know.
But then, so Carter is saying, like, later on, though, he's like, he gives it all up, right? He's like, all right. Like, he denies that happened.
Well, he basically ends up telling everyone, because people are writing him letters constantly.
Yeah,
people
they're like,
are
"Oh,
like,
I
you promised us. You were our savior.
Like, I was abducted. I feel less alone. Like, thank you, you know?
And he basically just says that he can't tell anyone anything because it matters in national security. And that's it. End of the story.
Yeah. And then he's just like done with it. Like, he doesn't talk about it anymore.
Yeah.
So whatever he found out, like the information that he was dying to find out was like too much.
Yeah. Or they literally told him nothing.
But yeah, I mean, and then just going back to Bush Sr., you know, I mean, he was asked point blank, I guess, like in 1988, he was president then, if he would tell people the truth about UFOs.
Or he was like campaigning at the time, I think.
Yeah. And then he basically said, like, Americans can't handle the truth.
Yeah, but I think it was in the same interview where someone was like, oh, but you have to know something. And he was like, yeah, I know a lot.
Yeah.
Like on video.
Right. Of course he knows a lot.
Of course.
How would he not?
It's also important to note that in between Carter and Bush, Reagan did see a UFO while he was campaigning as well. He was like in his Cessna. Him and 2 other people on board saw a UFO. This is in 1974. And they basically saw it like it was a white object in the sky that was like zigzagging toward them. It's also like, I don't know if you guys are noticing, but these UFOs are all described the same. This is now like 30 years of UFOs with the exact same descriptions. But yeah, he sees them like zigging towards them in the plane. The pilot gives a description of it coming at them steady in flight and then accelerating instantly away at a 45-degree angle with such high rates of speed. It just like astonishes everybody. Like everyone's freaked out. Reagan, however, doesn't really talk about his UFO experience. And personally, I think he chose George Bush as his running mate. So there's got to be something going on there with the two of them.
Yeah, Bush was just like, shut up. Shut up about it.
I'll tell you everything you want to know if you just shut up.
Yeah. All right. Are we moving on to Clinton now?
Poor Clinton.
All right.
Clinton tried his best.
Clinton really wanted to know about those alien titties. He was a horn dog, just like Kennedy.
But that was his problem, is he was too horny for the titties.
He was done with human women, basically. He had conquered every human woman on Earth. He was all about them alien titties.
Yeah, he said the presidency is reserved.
Yeah, and he's like, he's asking everybody about it. He's like, hey, do you know where I can get some of those alien titties? Do you think they have like 3 boobs or like 1 boob? I know it ain't 2 boobs. It's definitely more than 2.
2 normal boobs and then one that's just a second head.
Yeah, or maybe like a head that just is a boob. I think that's like what he was fantasizing about.
He was dying to know. Whatever it was, he needed to know.
He needed to know. He needed to have sex with them.
Yeah, well, he did get into office, and he said like as soon as he got in, he was like, I need to know 2 things. I need to know who killed JFK.
Right.
And I mean, are UFOs real? Where can I see them alien titties?
Yeah, he loved Roswell.
He opened an investigation into Roswell, a reinvestigation, and they basically came back and were like, yeah, it was nothing. It was a balloon. It was a nuclear testing balloon. And he was like, well, what about the bodies? And of course,
those bodies.
He said, "What about those bodies, though?" And they were like, "No, it was crash test dummies. Calm down."
No, but I need to know about the bodies and how sensual they were.
Yeah, they were like, "It's really nothing sensual. It's literally crash test dummies." So, and that was that. Well, he also had Area 51 investigated. He said he, in quotes, this is quotes, make sure there was no alien down there.
Make sure there was no alien down there.
I just imagine him like crossing his fingers.
I just got to make sure there's no aliens down there.
It's like running down the stairs. I just imagine him.
Do you think that? I feel like he would try to play sax for the aliens.
Is that his that's his finishing move?
Yeah. So he would have sex with them and then play sax, and then they would just like shrink his head or something. They would be
a beautiful scene.
They would be so upset. They would not respond well.
Yeah, so obviously they found no alien bodies in Area 51, but it did not stop his search. His whole presidency, he was committed to finding the aliens. And then in, 96? Independence Day, the film comes out, and he becomes obsessed. This is like his favorite movie. He invited Bill Pullman to the White House to watch a private screening with him and Hillary. And like, you can listen to Bill Pullman talk about this. It's like Hillary Clinton, Bill Pullman in the middle, Bill Clinton.
They definitely had a threesome. Yeah. They definitely all
trying.
Fucked. Yeah.
I just imagine like both Hillary and Bill with like one hand on his head. Just like, I feel like the film. It's disgusting.
Hey, pretty good in this, Bill.
No, Bill Pullman actually talks about how upset he was because he kept complimenting everyone else in the film and like never once said anything about Bill Pullman's acting.
Really?
He was like really concerned about it.
He was just didn't want to give him a big ego, I think, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, Lord.
Either way, he says that he continued digging around for documents and couldn't find any. He's interviewed by Jimmy Kimmel in 2014 and again references his favorite movie, Independence Day, and says, in quotes, "It may be the only way to unite this increasingly divided world of ours. Think about all the differences among people of Earth.
Think about all the alien titties that we could all be squeezing on together collectively."
Yeah. I know. I think what happened was that he was like obsessed with this idea of like the Nordic aliens. He was like, no, they're like super sexy. Potentially, they even look like Greys. He's like, I can get down with some Greys.
Oh, yeah.
And then Independence Day comes out and he's horrified by those octopus aliens.
I don't like that.
He's like, this is not.
I don't like that.
No. That's not what they look like.
I thought that they were just like green women. Green, like,
These don't
Earth
have
women.
any titties. How am I supposed to get off to this? He was so upset.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes sense. Sure, he was sad.
So he ended his presidency pretty disappointed. And then when Hillary Clinton was running, she kept bringing it up too. Like, she's equally obsessed with aliens and UFOs.
Yeah.
She's the one who told us also on Jimmy Kimmel in 2016, she was the one that was like, oh, you know, they call them UAPs
she's
now.
Like, Jimmy, we don't call them UFOs anymore. That's my Hillary Clinton impression. They're UAPs.
Perfect.
All right. Well, yeah. And basically, you know, what's from there? Like, okay, so yeah, Obama, like, recently has been like, yes, we don't know. Like, they are unidentified objects. Like, he's like actually saying, like, yes, they are UFOs. Like, clear as day. And then Trump is just like, I don't know. I don't like the aliens. They don't like me. So I don't care about them. Like, he, like, doesn't give a shit about the aliens. Like, he's literally not. He's so narcissistic, like he's just not even concerned with that.
I mean, honestly, I feel like all the presidents that we've had in the past like 20, 30 years, just they don't know anything about aliens
Yeah,
anymore.
and then Biden is like, he doesn't care either. You know, somebody like recently, like a few weeks ago, was like, hey, like, what do you think about Obama saying that, you know, UFOs are real and like we don't know what they are and blah, blah, blah. And Biden's just like, oh, I think you got to ask him again. Come on, man. You got to ask him again.
He doesn't know anything.
And it's just like, what? Why wouldn't you be like at all curious about that? I don't know. But whatever. Shit's hitting the fan. We're going to get a lot more information soon.
Disclosure's coming.
Stay tuned.
TMTWADPod.com. Get bunked.
Presidents and UFOs.